I just did about a 7-mile run this morning.
This is a world. This is a world premiere. This is a world.
It is T-minus 10 days until I hop in a car and my husband hops into a truck and we head for Detroit, leaving Brooklyn and Red Hook behind for the foreseeable future. I think I'm going to be checking in with all of you every day for the next 10 days just to let you know what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling about my last days in Brooklyn. I shouldn't be so dramatic about it because I'll probably be making a lot of stops back. My husband is actually going to be staying behind in Brooklyn while I'm setting up the space in Detroit, Alt Space Detroit, which I've talked to you guys about in previous videos. I want to harken back to yesterday when I had the opportunity to express a little bit of gratitude to some fellow YouTube content providers, as well as some of the viewers and people who are leaving comments on the channel. It felt so good, and it was great to get your feedback from and your thanks for my thanks. It was awesome. It was awesome. There were a couple of people that I did not shout out. I wanted to shout out the Dancing Snail, and I neglected to. I did include a link to the Dancing Snail in the description, and I will do that again today. Dancing Snail is just another growing channel that offers a very unique perspective of the world and of nature and saving animals. It's really a beautiful channel. And I also wanted to shout out Jazzy J, who's not a vegan channel, but is someone who identifies as, I believe, a lesbian woman and is offering that perspective on YouTube, but also someone who has expressed in videos the desire to be vegetarian and moving into veganism, but just felt that they didn't have the resources, which leads me to the point of this video, and that is something that stands between, I think, a lot of people and becoming a vegan is just having a community of support around them to help through that transition. I'm sure that there is not a vegan who used to eat meat who made that transition, who doesn't know what it's like to suddenly face family and friends who really try to put you through the ringer and try to undermine your desire to do what you feel is best for you and what you know in your mind and your heart is the ethical choice to make. It's not that easy. If you're a person of color, if you're a woman, if you're a queer person, if you're differently abled, if you don't have a very particular type of physique, it can be really threatening navigating the YouTube vegan community, which tends to cater to younger, whiter, fitter people, right? So there are a lot of people out there providing a lot of content, and I don't want to say that not having resources is necessarily an excuse, but having resources is such a help. And as many people say, they went vegan because they had a role model out there. And so I think it's really important to have those role models. And one size does not fit all when it comes to YouTube content providers. There is a lot of hostility, whether you guys realize it or not. There's a lot of hostility that exists in the vegan YouTube community. If you're a person of color, you can suddenly find yourself listening to a channel where they're talking about veganism and comparing it to racism as a person who had never experienced racism, and that can leave you feeling quite alienated. If you're a woman and you don't fit a very Eurocentric image of beauty, for example, it can be very threatening if there's, a very slim, white, blonde-haired woman who's telling you that you can have the perfect body. It can be very threatening if you're someone who's differently abled and someone is telling you to consume 3,000 calories a day and then hop on your bicycle. Those things can prevent people from feeling like they're part of a community. So that is something that we really, really need to look out for. And I personally want to make it part of my work in the YouTube community, in the general YouTube community, to identify those channels that are friendlier for people of color, friendlier for queer people, friendlier for women and people with all kinds of different body types and different who don't necessarily conform to Western beauty standards, people who are differently abled. I think that we just need to have a repository of spaces for folks who need special care, who need some sensitivity, need a little bit more sensitivity, because the world is pretty harsh if you're moving through it and you don't kind of fit into the status quo. I don't want to make that feel like it's a rant or a criticism for anybody. You guys are doing great stuff and you're supporting a lot of people, and keep on doing what you're doing, and I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. That's it for this video. Like it if you like it, share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.
And I love myself the way